Hey everybody, what's up? We decided to do this video to show you what we're doing about this COVID-19 virus thing and what's happening down here in RGV and the RV community. Details coming up on RV Street. Okay, so let's get right to it. We want to be a real, true information source to counter all the panicking that's going on the TV these days. As far as Joanie and I are concerned, we are not going to be part of this problem and causing more fear, more panic by talking about and just talking about this with and dominating our conversations with people. It serves no purpose. It just breeds more fear, more panic. So we're going to do our best to be part of the solution
and not the problem.
and staying calm and putting off plans for our summer until all this simmers down. As you know, this is our second winter coming down here to RGV. Our first year, we came down.
Yeah, we came down last year just because I do the travel plans and I didn't want to have to fight all of Florida's madness and Arizona's craziness of trying to find spots and whatnot. So I discovered RGV and we made the decision to come down here last winter and spend the winter down here.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we both fell in love with it down here.
Yeah. And when you get to wintertime, there's so many snowbirds. I mean, hundreds of thousands of them. They come down, they go to Florida and Arizona and a few down here. But down here, it's not as pretty as Florida.
No.
And it's probably not as pretty as those sunsets and sunrises in Arizona.
I've seen some pretty sunsets here, though.
We have. But it is a whole lot cheaper to live and winterize down here than those two places. There's not near the traffic. There's not near the issues that you deal with, reservations and jumping around from trying to find an opening from campground to campground. It's not like that. So this year when we came down, we decided, okay, we kind of understood. We found out and learned the ropes of RGV last year. This year we came down with a goal of, let's see what it would take to own a place down here, an RV spot. Instead of hopping around in our 1,000 Trails package and going from encore to encore to encore like we did last year and having to pay for an out week, we decided what it would look like and what it might cost to own a piece of property. Now we're going to do a whole video on that very soon because we did find a place and we did purchase a place. And that's where we are right now.
And that is where we're going to stay.
Yes.
For now, until all of this, clears up and, we'll see how this all shakes out before we ever leave this spot.
When we were looking for a piece of property down here, there was not even a whisper of coronavirus.
No.
It wasn't even on the radar.
The only corona I knew was a beer.
Yep. And, but it was on our agenda coming down here. Let's see what's out there. Let's see what's available. Let's see what it costs. Is this something that we should do and want to do? And in fact, it turned out that we did. We found a great place and we'll cover all that in another video. So let's get back down now to what's happening down here in campgrounds in RGV.
Since we loved our trip to Maine so much last year, we planned on going back this summer.
Yep.
We thought we would spend some time in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and of course New York to see our grandbabies. And we planned on leaving out of here at the end of April
And we had already have been starting to make these plans.
Oh yeah, we already have reservations.
Yeah, we've been making reservations in upstate, in northern Texas, and going on into Arkansas and Ohio. We're already starting to kind of plan for that and making reservations as they become available.
But we have no clue what's going on, when this is all going to simmer down and be under control. So our plan right now is we have no plan. We just think we're just going to sit tight right where we are.
Yep.
And just ride this out and see how it all plays out.
Now, what's happening here, not only in Thousand Trails parks, but RV parks across the board, down here and elsewhere, they're canceling all activities, which is concerts that they have down here, card games, their restaurants, their weekly cookouts,
Their
their potlucks, all that kind of stuff has been canceled. A lot of parks are not taking any new reservations. If you're already here in a park, they'll allow you to stay, and they'll even extend your stay. They won't force you to move, because if you move, you decide, well, you know what, I've had enough here, I'm going to go to another park. Well, guess what? That park might be closed. They may not be taking new reservations. So, so for right now, what we did, since we were, and again, buying this property was not even on our radar. We were coming here to do a recon mission. We just happened to find it. We just happened to buy it. And boom, I mean, literally right after we bought this, this whole thing, this virus thing exploded. So what we're doing is we're staying put right now where we are. There's no sense in going out anywhere. Now, to give you an idea, the other day, I went to the VA because I had to, I have eye drops that I put in my eyes twice a day. And I was running low, and I thought, you know what? Before I can't get any more of these drops, I'm going to go to the VA clinic here in McAllen and see if I can get another bottle of drops. Well, I already read online, she can't go in with me.
No.
Only VA personnel or VA patients can go in. So I went in, I got right into the front door, and right there was a table with a cop behind the table and two nurses, and they asked me, do I have any symptoms of the flu or cold or anything like that, and have I been out of the country? I said nope. They made me squeeze some stuff on my hand sanitizer on my hands, and they allowed me to go in, and I was able to get my drops.
But you know, we went out and we got some stuff, and the stores looked fine.
They were absolutely fine. We just did our normal everyday shopping.
Yeah.
We were not trying to prepare for a disaster because, again, it hadn't really exploded on the news yet. So we did our normal everyday shopping.
And well, you know, we did our normal everyday shopping, and this was on a Thursday, and then Friday, we're talking to friends, you know, they're asking how we're doing, we're asking what they're doing, and
we talked to, these friends were up in Conroe, Texas.
And
in Thousand Trails
and
Park.
in Houston also.
Yeah, and in Houston, yes.
And they were saying that the stores were wiped out of everything.
Yeah.
And we're like, really?
What? Yeah.
'Cause that's crazy. We were just at the store yesterday, and there's everything. And they said, nope, they can't get a bag of rice or beans or a piece of meat.
Everything was
nothing
wiped out.
to be had. So we stewed on that for the evening and got up the next morning and went, wow, maybe we should go.
Maybe we should stock up a little bit. I mean, we had ample things, but maybe we should stock up on some meat and some cheese and maybe get a dozen eggs and get a few essentials.
And go to the liquor store.
Yeah. Dilly.
But it was absolutely shocking to us when we got to the store.
Yeah. 24 hours later, the next day. it hit later down here. You guys have seen, I know we're not telling you anything new because we know that same kind of scenario has happened where you live. But it happened really, really late down here. I don't think we have seen the mass panic as bad down here as you all have up in the northern 48. We went to the grocery store just the other day, a couple of days ago, and we're already seeing the grocery stores starting to rebound some.
Oh, a lot, actually.
Yeah, but of course down here, I mean, like today it's been like 85, 86, 87 degrees all day today. It's warm down here, it's hot down here. There hasn't been any major breakouts down here of the flu. And but I will say this, we're just kind of rambling here, but just bear with us. We also, when we first came down here this year, in December, the first thing we did, right down to Mexico to see our dentist to get our teeth cleaned. Mm-hmm. Not a problem. Mm-hmm. We stayed there a couple hours. She got hers done. I got mine done. $40 a pop. We're done. And we scheduled another appointment in late April so we would be able to get that done
before we leave.
Right before we leave, because
Yeah.
we were scheduled to leave here April 26th. We called her today because of all of this virus stuff. We thought, we better get down there now, because after President Trump closed the Canadian border, the Mexican border is probably right around the corner.
Yep.
So she called.
Yeah, so I sent her a text. And she came back with, well, after today, I'm closing my business for a few weeks.
So down here, so she's gone. And we're suspecting that Progreso, where everybody goes for their meds and their doctor's appointments and dentists and stuff, I expect that to probably be curtailed or shut off completely real soon.
Well, yes, because we actually just read, remember? We just read that they're closing the border to Mexico. What was it, Friday?
I think it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Now, whether they said the border. Now, they weren't specific. I mean, the Mexican-U.S. border is it covers a lot of area. Now, whether that's going to be totally shut down or there will be some spots that'll remain open, I have no idea. But the bottom line is, you can't go to Progreso, right? Everybody over there in Progreso is starting to shut down their business.
Yeah.
So that's where that stands.
So here's some just common practices that we've adapted when we go out for groceries or gas or whatever it is we need to go out for. Basically, it's just avoid close contact with anyone. We do not shake hands with people.
No more shaking hands. No.
We were initially doing the old elbow bump, but we're just like, no, don't think so.
When we go to the grocery store, we park. First of all, let me just say, we're not exploring anymore. We're not going and visiting parks and doing bird watching, going to the beach and taking beautiful pictures. We're not doing any of that. We're heeding the CDC's advice because these next 2 weeks are so important. When we go to the grocery store, which is necessary, we carry in the back of our car a container of wipes. Our own Clorox sanitary wipes. We open it up, we peel it off, we close the container, and we go into the store and we wipe the handle and the whole outside of that cart ourselves with our own cart, with our own wipe.
When we get back to the car, we put our groceries in, get in the car, and we immediately do the sanitizer. We do it on our door handles because we've been touching those. We do it, inside and out on the door handles.
Yeah, and not just taking sanitizer. Joanie carries a little tube in her purse. So she'll squirt a little on my hand and her hand, and we'll wash. But what we just learned today is something I never really gave much thought to. But when you use hand sanitizer, you're supposed to go all the way around like this, okay? in between your fingers, and get this, I didn't even think about this, taking your nails and
Yeah.
going like this in that stuff and getting it in your nails too. I thought, oh wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know that, but we're doing that
Yeah.
now too.
Yeah, guilty. I didn't think about that either.
Here's another thing that we're doing. Now, of course, we're full timing, right? We're full timing and traveling around the country, and we are currently in a 55 older park, which most parks are, but that's where we are. And they're really stressing on staying away from children
Yeah.
because they're finding that children, they're not so susceptible on getting the flu or this COVID-19, but they can be carriers. And you don't want to have a lot of contact with children. When you're full timing in this lifestyle, you'll find, I mean, there are tons of retired people who do this, right? We're grandpa and grandma, grandma and grandpa. And when you're in a park that's over 55 and over, most of them are grandmas and grandpas. And the worst thing that you can do now is to be in contact with your grandchildren, because children by nature, they're not very clean to begin with. They just don't know how to practice good hygiene because they're kids. Then they get exposed to grandma and grandpa, and now because you're trying to either help out your kids with babysitting or whatever, because now the schools are closed, this is a bad idea. It's just a bad idea. Another thing that we've learned traveling around, going to the grocery store, what's the next thing you have to do?
What, Martin?
What? You have to get gas in the car.
Of course you do.
So the natural thing is just to jump out of the car and grab the pump handle and start putting in fuel. I actually did that the other day. I did not go and open up the trunk and grab a wipe and wipe down the pad where I punch in the credit card stuff and grab the pad, but I'm doing that now. But that's another really good thing to do.
Oh, and because we didn't really know last week where this was all going, or we thought we might pull a little bit of cash out of the bank just to have some cash on hand. And I went to get out, and Martin says, grab a wipe.
Yep.
So I popped the trunk, grabbed a wipe, and I wiped the screen off. I wiped all the numbers off and did what I needed to do there. Got back in the car and immediately sanitized my hands again.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing down here. Just some common sense. Not being paranoid. Not being, oh God, we're all going to die, the sky is falling. But we are taking practical steps as we move outside our living area, and we really encourage you all to do the same.
I think that what people need to hear is that, if you get this, you're not going to die.
80%. Yeah, I mean, 80% of people, 80. And this is in some of the most epic centers that this has been happening, like Tacoma, Washington. We have gotten some other information from other RVers in Tacoma, Washington, where there's been an explosion of this. 80% of people who contract this, they go through it just fine, they recover, life is normal.
They say it's like having the flu.
Yeah.
You have the flu.
Or a really, really bad cold.
You feel really crappy for a week or two, and then you're fine and life goes on.
15% of people may need oxygen. 5% of people are going to need to be hospitalized. I want to say that again. 80% don't need to go to the hospital, don't need care, don't need to go to a clinic. They go through it just fine. Mm-hmm. They recover. 15% may need oxygen because it's a respiratory issue, and 5% will have to go be hospitalized, and those have underlying illnesses that are compromising their immune system anyway. Yeah. So again, not need to worry. Okay, getting back to some more RV issues. We are reading reports from RVers in some places like the Bay Area in California. Those parks are locking down and shutting down showers and laundry facilities and all park activities. And some are not accepting any new reservations. I think we already have mentioned that, but I wanted to underline that. This is not a time to be on the road because, look, what if you're on the road and you have a roadside incident, a flat tire, you run out of gas, whatever? People may not be able to come out and help you because these next 2 weeks are really, really critical. It's best if you are in a place right now where you're able to make things work.
And stay there.
Stay there.
Yeah.
Just stay there.
Yeah. Because if you are on the road right now, you don't even know at this point if that park is going to let you in at your next destination.
That's right.
You don't know. So if you have the ability to stay where you are, just stay where you are.
Yeah. So I personally would like to take this just to one more level because we're talking about RVs here. And what do you do when you're living and traveling in an RV in a situation like this? This is like a hurricane that has hit the whole country. Okay? We have seen and met many people over the last couple of years we've been doing this. They don't even use their own shower. We'll see them 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They got their little tote and their towel, and they're marching their way towards the shower house in the campground. And I've asked some of them, why don't you use your own shower? And you know what they told me? It doesn't work.
Or it's too small.
It's too small. I don't know how to use the waste tanks correctly. My valve is broken. It doesn't drain correctly.
Yeah, there is a plethora of reasons why they don't.
And so they don't even mess with it. They just grab their towel, grab their little shower bag, and they go to the campground shower area. Well, guess what, folks?
Bathhouses are closed.
Now bathhouses are closed and you have a dysfunctional shower. But that is just one thing that I want to bring up. What I really want to hammer home here is, if you have an RV, you have to keep this thing in tip-top condition and have everything in working order. Because if something like this happens, and now the whole country is basically shutting down one day at a time, and now all of a sudden you need this to work or that to work, guess what? You may not be able to get anybody out there to fix it now because everyone's on lockdown. Everybody's afraid to come out. They're told they can't come out. The business is temporarily shut down. You can't order parts, and so on and so on. So this, what I am saying here is that if you are currently now in an RV, or you're going to buy an RV, and you're going to do what we are doing, you need to learn how to fix stuff. You need to have tools on hand at all times. You need to carry critical spare parts, and you need to know how to take care of this thing, because things can happen, and you need to know what to do when you have to do it and not be relying on others that may not be available in crunch time. Okay? This is really, really important. As you all know, hand sanitizer, as we mentioned, and we all know is really good to use, it's not available. But Joanie has got a really good tip on how to make your own. Joanie?
Okay, quite simple really. 2/3 of a cup of 91%, and make sure it's 91% alcohol. 1/3 of a cup of aloe vera gel. About 10 drops of your favorite essence. Oil, like lavender, whatever. This is optional.
Whatever you like.
5 to 10 drops of vitamin E oil. That's optional. And you mix all of that together and you have got hand sanitizer.
That smells good. And it's good for your hands.
Yeah.
And we just hope that this video has been helpful, encouraging, informative. And if it has been, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember, subscribing is free.
Yeah.
One thing we would really like, though, is for you guys to chime in. We've got you guys are all over the country. We would love to hear what's happening in your neck of the woods to help other RVers, because that's what this is all about, right?
Absolutely.
Using social media to help others in times of need, crisis, and happiness, right? Anyway, that's it for now. Until next time, this is RV Street. Stick around.